course, I look crazy. My hair is quote unquote unkept. Well, in reality, it's neither unkept nor unruly. It is filthy. It is beyond any of that. It's nasty. I haven't taken a shower or a bath in like almost 5 months. I'd love to. Don't have the availability. I got clippers in here for cutting my hair. Of course, with as filthy as my hair is, are those cutters going to cut? And am I capable of digging them out? So this is about what I should do versus what I'm willing to do. Yes, I'm well aware. Whenever I try to explain to people about the situations that I'm in, they always want to give me advice and tell me what they'd do. Their advice is usually something that I've already tried and had to do alone, and literally this whole time, the whole problem is, and I explain this to all these people, that I can't do this alone. If I have to go in alone, well, the officers have the upper hand. I'm a homeless person in the United States. Don't be a fucking idiot. You want to tell me how smart I am, but, well, I tell you about my experiences and you treat me like I'm fucking retarded. You know what? If somebody comes home from Iraq and they're missing half their fucking leg and they tell me what the mortar round sounded like when it fucking hit them, I'm probably going to believe them. I'm probably not going to argue with them about what a mortar round sounds like incoming right before it blows up your fucking leg when your goddamn leg is missing. Now, if you're going to tell me stories about how you got a titanium leg and how you heard a mortar round coming in and lo and behold, you go to scratch your leg and your leg is no scars, it's obviously not titanium, it's made of flesh, there's nothing wrong with your goddamn leg. Well, at that point, I'm going, whoa, hold on a second, are you sure that's what a mortar round sounds like? Are you sure that's incoming? Were you really in the military? So, of course, I'm trying to tell people about my abusers, like Leslie Snell and like Scott DaCosta, the Bollingers, of course. And these people want to talk about how they would shoot people. Are you telling me to shoot Leslie Snell? Are you trying to insinuate that I should do that? Are you trying to insinuate to me that you are going to kill that person? Because literally, according to the way that the law is written, if I am getting in trouble for repeating it as a question and speaking out about it as a protest, it is covered and protected by law. But you're not. Because you're not protesting. You're not protesting it. You're not speaking out about it. You're not saying this is wrong. I'm literally being treated like I threatened to kill people because I want you to fucking clarify. So you never tried to make a police report. Every time I call you, you want to talk drunkenly about how you would shoot somebody or you would beat somebody up or you would this or you would that. And when I speak out about how wrong it is, and you've already admitted in multiple conversations that are recorded on YouTube that you know how much it hurts me, and yet you keep doing it over and over again. You know how much it hurts me mentally for you to continue to tell me that you would fucking hurt people and you would fucking kill people. You guys want to tell me about how the law doesn't work? Well, you know why the law doesn't work? Because you didn't fucking try. You made zero effort. You have zero proof of your efforts, except for the proof that I showed. I showed the proof of your efforts. I showed the proof that what these police said about you are lies. The things that they wrote down in court, because they never tried to investigate or talk to any of you about any of this. We had to force them to do these things in the few situations where they pretended that they would. If I'm a liar for repeating what is written on my court documents, if I am a liar for repeating those things, then you need to come forward in court instead of forcing me to record it months after the fact and post it on YouTube. What an un-American thing to do. It says we the people, not everybody but the fucking homeless, not everybody but the disabled, not everybody but males. Who is it that is required to register for the draft? Men! Men are told they have no fucking rights because of Me Too, Me Too, Me Too. No, they had no rights way before that. But they're the ones expected to fight the wars. When a woman starts drama, it's supposed to be a man's job to protect her, to just assume that she's right. And if she's pretty, he might. If she's fat and ugly, probably not. She's not human to most of you because she's fat and ugly. Just like broke and ugly. Well, those are two things you don't give a shit about. Like, yeah, I kind of sort of feel sorry for him, but, you know, I'm not going to help him because I don't want to have sex with him. It's not like I'm going to have kids with him. If he was somebody I was absolutely in love with, yeah, I might fucking help him get away with fucking rape and murder. But, of course, we've got somebody I'm not interested in having sex with who's being victimized. And, of course, I'm aware of my part of the story, and it helps to show that he's none of those things. But I'm not going to come forward because, of course, my libido doesn't pull me that direction. Like that, what was it, a Stanford study where they hooked like 80 women up to machines and they showed them postcards and stuff like that and had them talk to different people, and they were showing what it is that piqued their arousal level. Looks and money, sense of equilateral proportion, and cash. Those are the two things that piqued their sexual interest. And also, when are people most likely to make fucking dumb decisions? Either A, when they're protecting people that they love, or B, when they're fucking horny. I mean, seriously, you know, if he's good looking, Jason Momoa. Yeah, when that totally pulls out the labia lactate, I mean, seriously, that's shown. That is what makes you aroused. That dude's got looks and money. I mean, that right there, that's like Johnny Depp. That is instant flood. Of course, this is only according to scientific studies. This is not according to your opinion. So obviously, this isn't something that should be allowed in court. Only your opinion should. You know, we shouldn't be showing that the looks are what is actually important to you according to scientific studies. We are still pulling the same torture techniques against the most at-risk individuals in the country, just like the United States with the 13th Amendment. It took slavery that was only allowed in the South and made it legal nationwide for the government. Anybody convicted of a crime. And then, of course, these homeless laws nationwide. So, of course, being homeless means that you can be used for forced labor. And, of course, as long as they keep pushing the bias and keep arresting you falsely, see, that's one of the things about the numbers for the homeless and the arrests. When did those numbers begin? Just after the Civil War. Just after the Civil War, you've got 4 million black homeless people. And how many of them were in chain gangs? Up to 200,000 of them at a time in some states. At a time. That is not insignificant. Slavery was never made illegal in the United States. They victimized the most victimized people in the country, and their victimization of us not only cuts us off and separates us from resources or the possibility of future resources, it separates us and removes the resources that we have. And then those numbers, you know those numbers, those arrest numbers that show all of those black people in the South right after the Civil War were breaking a bunch of laws. Those black people were all criminals. That's right, 4 million black people. They're all criminals. You wanna use law as an excuse and pretend like this stuff stopped after the Civil War? No, those 4 million black people were literal criminals. And then they arrest as many of those criminals as they can for being homeless. And then, of course, that's when we start having the records that reflect that homeless people are criminals. So all homeless people got to deal with this bias that's been around since the Civil War, because Southerners hate black people, and because now you can use it against anybody. You don't want to see poverty? Fuck it. Statistics show that because they're homeless, they're criminals. No, it's because we're easy to railroad, because unlike what the Rainbow Family or Drainbow Family wants to sell us, this, hey fam, love and light, hey fam, fuck off! Whew. Don't fucking bullshit me, you fucking chimo, fucking used car salesman, smiley dopey dumb fuck. And this is seriously the world that we live in. Where, you know, it's still wrong to do it to black people, but it's acceptable at this point. We have taught American society that everything in their lives that has ever happened or ever gone wrong is the fault of a homeless person. And that you can take it out on a homeless person because it's just assumed that every homeless person was thrown out of an institution, a mental institution, in the 1980s by Ronald Reagan. No. You guys have victimized the most victimized people in the country, these at-risk adults, to the point of extreme poverty for their entire lives. The police know that they can get an easy conviction. If there's somebody who's been fucking murdered, they know that if they want to, if they can't find the person who did it, and of course the public is crying for blood, they can blame it on a homeless person, unless they're Boulder County, because Boulder County literally botched every part of that, didn't they? JonBenét Ramsey. They couldn't even get it to stick on a fucking homeless person. That is how fucked up Boulder Police Department are. They shouldn't be allowed to investigate a goddamn toilet, let alone a fucking murder. These are not investigators. These are people that quote-unquote libowel, L-I-B-O-W-E-L, Lee Bowell. You know what I learned from living in Boulder? Liberal just means that you're gonna slap up a bunch of pretty shit and throw your name all over it. Probably at the expense of slave labor performed by, of course, people who don't have the money for bail, people who don't have money for the telephone, people who even the public pretenders and their own families don't care about. The homeless. Yes, they seriously tried to blame the homeless for the death of JonBenét Ramsey. They tried to blame the homeless for two separate fires, both of which in Boulder County turned out to be started by two separate fire departments. Well, one of them was a specific fireman, and, well, he got busted. He didn't fess up to it. It's not like he turned himself in and said, well, I was trying to, practice putting out fires and it got out of control. No, he fucking They busted him, and then he said that, and then they let him go. They didn't fucking bother to retract the accusations against the 3 homeless people that were, well, just frying up some dinner. Imagine that, you're cooking dinner and all of a sudden you've got a wave of heat that comes and blasts you and you start running. Yes, your fire is still going. No, you didn't put out your fire. But I got a question for you. If you have a cup of water in front of you and you see a flood coming, are you going to bother with properly disposing of that cup of water? Are you going to bother with pouring that cup of water down the drain? At that point, that cup of fucking water does not fucking matter. That cup of water is arbitrary. The fact that those people did not put out a tiny fire in a controlled pit when a giant wall of fucking flame is coming at them does not make them responsible for that fire, and it was irresponsible of Boulder County to yet again try to blame homeless people, and yet again to not go back and tell the public in the way that they had publicly tried to blame it on a homeless person. They quietly tried to let it piddle out. And of course, the news media knows this, but do they go and with all of these literally probably 100 different situations similar to that they've had on the news with homeless people, that the news is already aware, they had a big old special on their news channel, and then of course that news channel is associated with this particular newspaper, and where is it that they print the little thing about how it was actually a fireman? That was literally on the back page. It was on the inside of the back page in a small article in the corner that it was a volunteer fire department person who had started the fire. No apology to the homeless people for making them out to be fucking villains to the general public. No big public announcement to the general public that it was actually a fireman. No, we have to protect the image, don't we? We have to protect the image that hobos are goddamn rapists. The hobos are the ones who are destroying your lives. Just like Nebraskans want to get drunk, spend $50 a night on booze at the bar. How much is that per month? $1,500 per month. I don't make that much. I make less than half of that. I make less than half of what they spend at the bar per month on alcohol, and they want to blame blacks and Mexicans on welfare for the fact that they're always broke. You're spending $1,500 a month on booze. You're getting government subsidies, and you have literally 2 houses in Arizona for your winter houses, 2 houses in Nebraska, 1 in town and 1 out at the country. You own 4 houses. You own 11 tractors that are worth over $1 million a piece for at least half of them. All of them off of government subsidized funding. And you're gonna bitch that blacks and Mexicans on fucking welfare are the reason that you're fucking broke? Boy, you a special kind of fucking stupid, ain't you? Where are these blacks and Mexicans in Chapel, Nebraska taking your jobs? They don't exist. They don't want to go anywhere near you fucking racist pieces of shit. They stay the fuck away from you racist pieces of shit. Blacks and Mexicans have been proving for years that Nebraskans will blame anyone but them. All these mandated reporters that didn't do their jobs, same thing. Especially in Nebraska. Oh, it's not my fault I didn't do that. It's the cops' fault. Oh, it's not our fault. That's the advocate's fault. Oh no, that's not my fault. That's the police's fault. Oh no, that's not our fault. That's the advocate's fault. No, it's not my fault. It's your fault for not speaking up. When good men do nothing, that is evil enough. If I'm being called schizophrenic and a liar for saying the things that you did for me, and you never come forward and never try to come forward, and you promise me you're gonna, you verify to me that those things are true. You verify in recordings that I have that I'm not schizophrenic, that those things did happen. Boy, you're a special kind of stupid. Just like them fucking alcoholics in Nebraska. Just like the Me Too movement and just like BLM. You know, BLM would get a lot fucking further if they fought the homeless cause. But then again, nobody cares about the homeless, and they're afraid that fighting the homeless cause will detract from them. But by their very own numbers, their very own recollection, yeah, homeless black people are number one on their lists as well. Homeless black people. Number two on their lists are disabled black people. Just like the numbers for the rest of the country, they do match up directly. The number one spots are still the number one spots. The number two spots are still the number two spots. The number three spots are still the number three spots. Whether you're black or white, the top 5 spots for all of these victims categories, none of them include skin color. Not even one. Not even one. Matter of fact, we don't even get to skin color until like number 7. I mean, nationalistic stuff is pretty prevalent. That's higher on the list even. Y'all remember after 9/11, all these fucking rednecks beating and killing Muslims and getting away with it right after 9/11. We got country music talking about how we're gonna go beat some ass like it's the 4th of July. Yeah, look how that shit worked out. We started teaching everybody to hate Muslims in 1987. Got the American population all geared up and gung-ho. Posted up all about the Ayatollah Khomeini and tried to insinuate that all Muslims are zealots who hate Americans. Taking pictures of rallies of Muslim Americans decrying this horrible, horrible things that have happened. There are signs they're holding that are written in Arabic, and they're walking through the United States with these signs written in Arabic, saying how wrong it is that these people, these religious zealots claiming to be Muslims, how wrong they were, how about that's not what's in the Quran. That's not what the Quran tells them to do. These Americans holding these signs, and what did the news post it up as, especially these quote-unquote news agencies like America First. America First is not a newspaper. It's a white supremacy propaganda. All right? It's not even close to being news. Now, you guys want to say you're jumping around all over the place and none of this stuff is related. No, it absolutely is related. The fact that our law enforcement is the equivalent of the fucking Dark Ages. The fact that we're literally ignoring. We have officers themselves, like William Barr, something that is obviously, in this situation, a safety risk and a risk of life and limb. And he wants to tell me I need to give it to God. Did he give it to God? No. No, God only exists when it suits him and gives him an excuse to do nothing. Only when it gives him an excuse to show that his moral compass points straight south. Science doesn't exist in the courtroom. the reality and the logistics and these protocols that are obviously very true. These things that obviously these quote unquote professionals who are afraid to even try, knowing that there is the possibility of up to 6 months incarcerated for not doing these things and getting their licenses taken away. And even then, when their clients come to them, I want you to take this situation, because these violations against me, these crimes committed against me, these are considered what's called heinous crimes. You know what a heinous crime is, right? Molesting a child, raping the elderly, ripping off somebody who's in a wheelchair who is desperate for help. Somebody in a wheelchair is broken down on the side of the road, and you tell them that you're gonna take their $200 in their wheel, and you're gonna drive into Fort Morgan, only 5 minutes away. You're gonna spend that money to fix their wheel, and then you're gonna come back, and what do? You go off and you spend the money, and then you disappear, and then you be like, oh, well, I came back, I couldn't find you. Meanwhile, where the fuck are you gonna go? You were on the side of the road for like 8.5 hours before anybody ever stopped to talk to you. And then you're like, no, I got somebody coming back with wheel. I got somebody coming back with wheel. Y'all don't get the references either. You don't want to try the references. If I talk too fast, or I talk too slow, or I say, then all of a sudden, whatever I say is not credible. If I have a lisp, or if I have a speech impediment, if I stumble on my words, or if you frustrate me and then my words don't come together, and you know that this is not how you're supposed to do things. This is not proper trauma response. This is literally the things that you're trained not to do. It wasn't just the cops. Megan Misegatis, Marcia Estrada, all these people that are supposed to be professionals, not trying. Now, I want you to apply this. Let's say that you were raped, and you went in to tell these people about you being raped. And of course, they're not going to take it seriously. They're not turning it in, even though they're mandated to do so, even though you're explaining to them that you're trying to turn these things in and you need their help. And they're going to tell you it's not going to work, and they're not going to try because it's not going to work. I mean, you've still got somebody's semen inside of you. You already know, because when you were raped before and you had to go in alone, and you were treated because you were fucking homeless, like you were a fucking crack whore, and that, you were going out there and spreading your legs for some junk, and now you just want to make sure that you're not fucking pregnant. Like, no, that's not the fucking case. Why didn't you go to the cops? Well, have you ever, as a homeless person, tried going to the cops? Look at Teresa Macelia. Look at how the cops treated her when she was raped in Boulder County. She fought back. They charged her with assault, but didn't charge her rapist. They charged her for fighting her rapist off. And like most statistics, somebody she knew. Now let's look at Christine Kelly. Christine Kelly, same situation, Boulder County, same place. This woman is going to college to become a fucking doctor. A doctor, that's right. Christine Kelly wants to save lives. Now there's a possibility that she will never be allowed to. Why is that? Because when she was raped, and she tried to turn it into Boulder County, when she tried to turn it into the police, they helped her predator to get away and charged her with false reporting because she didn't fight back. So there's literally nothing that these victims can do if their predator is a student at CU. What is the chances that these two rapists are CU athletes? Well, statistically, from the 3 or 4 women that I know who tried to turn their shit in and fucking it was turned down, and of course their claim is that these were CU athletes, there's a pretty good chance that the people who raped Christine Kelly and Teresa and Mycelia were both CU athletes. You remember the rape stuff in Boulder County? You remember that stuff back during the 90s, don't you? And you want to say, oh, that was so long ago. Look at all of the things that they did to make it better since then. They put up all of these booths so that if you're afraid, you can go to these booths with these lights on top. Of course, then you're afraid to go to that booth with the light on top, aren't you? You're afraid that it's going to telegraph exactly where you are, first of all. And that is what it does. You've got access to a cell phone. Your best bet is to run like a motherfucker. I mean, the response time on that fucking light is not that great, and it's not used that often. Your best bet is to run to fucking Broadway. I mean, most of those lights are right off the major intersection. You are going to be able to get to that intersection before you can get to that fucking light and get it turned on. And then that light is going to telegraph to everybody what's going on. They're going to sit there stoned going, what the fuck is that? Fucking cops? Fucking cops? How long is it going to register to them that that light that's strobing doesn't have any blue, it's just the red part? You know? I mean, most of the time when people know the cops are driving by, yeah, they'll fucking get up and look out the window. They're curious. And even if it does work, then you've got the situation of the cops showing up. They realize that it's a CU fucking football student that you're trying to turn in. You're trying to turn in a CU football student. Now, it doesn't matter the color of this student, okay? It could be a black student. It could be a white student. Boulder County Sheriff's Department and Boulder Police Department and CU Campus Police, they don't give a fuck. They don't care if the athlete is black or white. That doesn't make a difference. They're going to protect them because back during the 90s with those rape scandals, they can't have that. There's a lot of incentive to make sure that no CU football player, especially, or basketball player, especially, is on the news for raping anyone. And of course, then you've got victims who are supposed to not bring up the names of their predators. Why didn't Teresa Mycelia tell you the name of the person who raped her? Gag order. She was the one charged with the crime. Why is it that Christine Kelly did not say the name of her predator? Gag order. If it's a CU student, they're going, especially an athlete, they are going to gag order the fucking victim. Like they did with me. Did I follow that fucking gag order? God, no. Hell no, I could not. For the safety of others, not just myself. What they did was create a safety issue and go out of their way, despite all of the evidence that these things were and are going on, absolutely did happen and do have the outcome that they have had. We live in a country that tries to pretend that women can't be the predators and only men can, where even women like Teresa Mycelia, who was going to college, she was going to come up here to Oregon. That's what she was going to her friends to see, to say goodbye to before coming up to Oregon to check out colleges. And of course, Christine Kelly, what was she doing? She was going to school to become a fucking doctor. Not a nurse, a doctor. You think that's going to be allowed now? With a tarnished reputation? Or she's now got a crime of dishonesty against her? Now that can be used against her by anybody who didn't get what they wanted in the emergency room? Oh, look, she's a liar. She's such a fucked up person that she accused somebody of raping her. Well, I tend to actually believe her on that. Why? Because she actually went in to make a police report, or at least tried. What are the chances that, much like me, even if she wrote a police report, they either A, had their receptionist, and you guys can hear this in videos of police officers nationwide and the places that we're told to go to nationwide and the people we're told to call nationwide, all these different places. And even the receptionists, you get to see in all of these cases, these receptionists playing retarded. They want to talk about how they're intelligent and they want to talk about their credentials. But what good are those letters behind your name? You're a fucking receptionist. You pick up the goddamn phone and you hand out paperwork. You're not a lawyer by your own admission. And then you're going to tell somebody who has researched and is well aware of the law that, yes, they are aware and you are denying them those rights. And then you and your fucking supervisor want to play fucking retarded for 30 goddamn minutes. No, you're a goddamn criminal. You are obstructing fucking justice, bitch. It don't matter that you don't have a fucking badge. At that point, you are still involved in a conspiracy with law enforcement to deprive their victim of the right to turn them in. You are depriving them of their legal, moral, and constitutional rights here in the United States. Me too, me too, me too. So my question is, with these places being shut down for doing the things I told you they did to me, with these places being shut down for doing those things to others, for these people being arrested for doing these things to others, and some of them resulting in death, yes, that's what it took. It took those cops literally fucking killing somebody. And even then, their departments tried to help cover up their crimes. Do I know or even care what the title of this video is at this point? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. All of the titles are basically clickbait, because even though that particular topic is going to be brought up, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's brought up with it because it all fucking matters. I get that what you guys think I should be doing, you think I should be, when I'm telling you about the situation with Leslie Snell and how I need help turning her in, and you're going to tell me about assaulting people and killing people. Are you trying to insinuate or tell me that I should kill her? Are you trying to insinuate or tell me that you're going to kill her? Have I or have I not told you repeatedly, please don't, I'm not okay with that? Now, of course, are you going to admit that you were pushing that shit? Are you going to come forward in court and say, yeah, actually, that video was because he was fucking pissed off at me for fucking always talking about fucking killing people and fucking hurting people when he's trying to get help put it in court? You think Sarah Bacon is going to say that? You think any of these other people who that's the only solution they're willing to try? Oh, they hate people. They hate people. Oh, they'd kill people. They'd shoot people. Oh, I get it. I know what I should be doing. I know that according to you, if it were you, or what I should do according to you, and that comes from the majority of the population, the majority of the population's opinions, that you're able to keep out of the courts by utilizing bias. You keep science out of the courts by utilizing bias. And you want to tell me that I'm the fucking crazy one? When you go to a police officer or a former police officer about rampant abuse that you were going through, and they want to tell you to give it to fucking God, you're a special kind of stupid, son. People didn't want their names associated after they were already involved. They wanted to say, I don't want to get involved after they were already involved. A lot of these people, they didn't want to fucking think about the consequences of their actions if they chose to lie directly to me, knowing that these situations had happened. Yeah, we were in communication in 2016 while I was in Virginia. I did message you. You were aware that these things were true. When I posted these things up with your name on them, it shows that it was you who I was messaging at that point in time. And I'm getting treated like I'm schizophrenic and that I made up a profile. They're basically trying to say that I had premeditated at that point in time at the very beginning. They were basically trying to insinuate that I had premeditated murder against Natalie Bollinger back in June of 2016 by creating a fake Natalie Bollinger profile to message myself about the crimes committed by Natalie Bollinger's family. Does that make any fucking sense? I mean, basically at that point, what they're trying to do, they're trying to insinuate that the messages that I had from Natalie Bollinger's own phone number, that I had gone and bought another phone and done all sorts of special magic hacking fucking shit to make it so that I had the exact same phone number as her and I had been messaging myself. Now you guys want to talk to me about fucking delusional. And then I'm assaulted by officers who claim that I assaulted them with a weapon and that I tried to bite them. I want you to count the teeth in my head. Am I wrong, or are there a grand total of 0 teeth to fucking bite them with? They tried to feign an assault. Now, there's a big difference between what they did and what was done later on in the Longmont Hospital. See, what they did in the Longmont Hospital is called pulling an assault. That's where they physically harm you, they strap you to a bed, they inject you with fucking drugs, and then while you are being assaulted, pressure points. My knees are fucked up. What are they fucked up from? Fucking Waylon Lolitide, Jesus Christ. Among other things. And of course, that officer, that Longmont officer now, used to be an officer in Broomfield, was supposed to investigate the thing with Natalie, supposedly called me to investigate, never did, but supposedly had, according to Amanda Jonas. Officer Amanda Jonas. And this guy is literally trying to go around my body to find a spot that it fucking hurts for him to do those pressure points on. Now, why did he have to go around my body and look for multiple pressure points? Because I'm fucking autistic. I got a higher pain threshold than most of you. It was actually very difficult for him to find a spot where he could hurt me that bad because I was strapped to a bed. Of course, you want to start doing the hyperextension thing. Well, then, well, yes, he could put me in that kind of pain easily, just like Waylon Lolitide did by trying to twist my leg off of my fucking body. Why did they lose the fucking body cam evidence? Because the hospital staff literally watched and assisted Boulder Police Department with committing multiple felonies in an attempt to obstruct justice in the Natalie Bollinger case. Why did they do everything that they could to make sure that they dragged out everything in court as long as they legally could before dropping the charges? Now let me tell you about a situation at Dallas Richmond's. So Harley, she gets busted. She's literally passed out at the wheel with 5 kids in her vehicle. All right, passed out drunk. And they take the kids away from both her and Dallas. Now, of course, at this point, I'm scared shitless for the kids. I'm scared shitless for Dallas. He's pretty fucking depressed at this point. He might fucking shoot himself. And later he actually admitted to that. It's on fucking my recordings. I mean, it's not like I fucking lie saying that. It's fucking recorded. Now, of course, he kicked her out of the house because she came over there and she was violent and she was throwing shit at him. And yes, it's fucking recorded. And I let him know that if he ever wanted to take her to court, he said, well, I won't. I'm not going to do that. I can't fucking call the cops. I got a penis. I'll be the one arrested. I got that recorded too. It's not that I didn't record this shit. It's that, really, I needed to wait for these people to come forward. They had to do it because I'd tried. I had tried. Some of this evidence I had tried, and I'd already posted it up on the internet because it was that desperate. If there are lives at stake, yeah, fuck you. I'm not keeping your secrets, bitch. So, of course, I moved out of the place. So they couldn't use me against Dallas and Harley because Dallas was trying to get his kids back. Then what happened? Harley was guilty as fucking sin. By her own admission, she's guilty as fucking sin. They dropped the charges on her. What happened to Randy Ingersoll's there in Rawlins, Wyoming with me? She was actually beating on the fucking kids. They did press charges against her. They also pressed bogus charges on me. Now, according to Rayanne Ingersoll, what they charged me with didn't actually happen. You get to hear what happened to all of my things, including evidence of child molesters that those officers in Rawlins, Wyoming tried to destroy. Intentionally deprived me of those resources under false pretenses. By Rayanne's own admission. And who was it that was charged? Me. Who had to literally plead guilty to a crime they didn't commit because Rawlins Police Department committed multiple felonies, including depriving me of that computer full of evidence, which I finally got back. Finally. What did I have to do to get that computer full of evidence back? I had to plead guilty to a crime I didn't commit. And of course, if I go back to Wyoming, because I didn't pay them their massive amount of money for a crime I didn't commit, well, of course, I'm the criminal. The actual criminal was female. The cops helped her get away. The cops assumed my guilt. The cops committed not only misdemeanors, but also felonies against me, illegally imprisoned me, intentionally lied and manipulated about the situation. But then again, the evidence of their wrongdoing, I had to literally plead guilty to a crime I didn't commit and sign a piece of paper saying that I couldn't take them to court so that I could get the evidence of their wrong fucking doing because my public pretender in Rawlins, Wyoming, wouldn't do his job. He literally would only attempt to communicate with me across a line of communication that he literally knew would not work. He knew I wasn't in Chapel, Nebraska. He has multiple calls to his fucking office letting him know where I'm at and what my number is and what my email address is, and that I didn't have a mailing address anywhere else, that the only way for him to communicate with me was through email and through phone calls, and obviously we had communicated in phone calls, so he was well aware of that, was capable of that, and literally never even tried. No matter how many times I called him in the dozens. He literally never tried to answer his phone for that entire time, and literally sent all of the correspondence to the only form that he knew I absolutely could not receive the responses in. If I'm in Rapid City, South Dakota at Jamie Curtis's, how am I going to receive mail in Chapel, Nebraska? Then there's all these things that you say you can't do unless I have an actual physical address, and that a P.O. box won't work and that general mail won't work. But when it is that way, of course, when it favors you, then you can do it then. Oh, and you guys tell me I'm crazy up the ass all you want. Literally, the paperwork and the recordings in the court dates show I told the truth. So don't fucking bullshit me like you were fucking there. Don't tell me that your opinion magically supersedes the facts. Their own fucking words, my predator's words, in their entirety. While you guys gotta pick and choose little bits and pieces. Like with Caesar and Vercingetorix, they gotta destroy your name before they can destroy you. You know how Vercingetorix was killed? You guys want to talk about how great Julius Caesar was and also what a tyrant he was. He was literally a tyrant. That was literally his official title for years. So yeah, you're right. He was actually literally a tyrant. Well, when he basically was declared dictator of Rome, Vercingetorix was ritualistically, we talk about civilization, we do the same thing here to people all the time, perhaps not literally, but the same thing. We do this to men all the time. We strangle them to death, ritualistically, without a care in the world, for the entertainment of the general public, and most precisely for the entertainment of women who are screaming for blood, in specific, man-haters like the Me Too movement. So they took Vercingetorix. They took him before Julius Caesar. This is Julius Caesar's greatest victory. His conquest of the Gaul, all of France, all of it. All of it was Julius Caesar's, every bit of it. And everything in between France and Italy. All of it. Taken over by Julius Caesar. And here is this man, Vercingetorix, who nearly starved to death, who gave himself up to save what few Gaul were left in the city of Alesia. Strangled to death in front of the public to fanfare, applause, celebration, and jubilee. While people cheered and bought the Roman equivalent of hot dogs and beer. Garum. And Pugio. Foot wine. Those of you who don't know your history are doomed to repeat it. You want to claim that American society is based on Greece, ancient Greece. Well, in Greece it wasn't much different, but guess what? We're not based on Greece. And which Greek city would you be pretending we're based on? Athens. Well, we're not. We're based off of the Near Roman period. What's the Near Roman period? Well, this is a artificially constructed period of time. This is where the Romans, in between being Imperial Romans and being Republic Romans or Republican Romans, there's two different periods for that. One of them is a republic and one's a Republican, and there's also a reason those two are differentiated when you get to people who break down those timelines. But throughout that period, you get to see that half of those people wanted basically to have a king, and the other half didn't. And of course, they let Pompey the Great and Julius Caesar duke it out, didn't they? What happened to Pompey? Or Pompeius, I believe. Well, he went to Egypt, and the Egyptians cut his head off and gave it to Julius Caesar as a gift. Yeah. You pretend that the past doesn't catch up with us. The Roman rental agreement. We adapted that and adopted it right after the Civil War, because the Roman rental agreement could be used to keep people who didn't have a home from ever having one. Black people. Well, that Roman rental agreement doesn't just affect black people, does it? No, it affects anybody who's impoverished. The anti-homeless laws and the chain gangs. You know, you can sell the fucking narrative that slavery is illegal in the United States all you want. The reality of it is, the homeless are your slave laborers. The homeless are the fillers for your prisons and jails. When you need a scapegoat, it's the homeless. When you can't take out the anger and aggression that you have, you don't want to cut your wrists again over your mommy not listening and your daddy raping you. Now you have hatred and vengeance. You've gone emo. You dye your hair heavy black. You wear black clothing, and you wear rings that have skulls, and some of them with butterflies, chains in between. You wear heavy dark makeup, and you cover your arms. I'm never going to let a man do that to me again, you say. You're emo and angry and proud, and still living at your mother and father's house, because you're afraid that if you cut yourself for attention again, and it is for attention, it's not for attention's sake, you're trying to get help. You tried asking for help, you tried screaming, nobody helped you, they treated you like shit, and now you have to cut yourself, and even that got you victimized further. Everything that you do to try to get you help gets you victimized. And now you have nothing but hatred and contempt for the world, and you want someone you can take it out on. That's right, go down to Boulder Creek, find a homeless person. The bigger the beard, the more bald he is and the shorter he is, the more likely you're going to get away with whatever it is that you're going to do. Maybe you're just going to go down there and you're going to scream at him and berate him because he's a man, and all men are these fucking horrible animals. You might just be that nice. And the reason I say that nice is because there's a lot meaner things that those emo girls can do. It all ties in together regardless of the title.